Well, he's inspired moviegoers with his legendary portrayal of Jesus in the film The Passion of the Christ. Now actor Jim Caviezel is taking on a powerful new role, addressing Christian persecution in the Middle East.
We're not afraid to die. That's why we're going to win.
I'm not afraid either. Do your job.
Actor and star of the new film Infidel, Jim Caviezel, joins me now. Jim, thank you so much for being here. The film is about an American Christian journalist imprisoned in Iran. What is the goal? I've watched the trailer. It's out in theaters now, brand new. What's the goal of this film?
Well, the goal is to obviously bring the attention to a lot of Americans of the persecution of what's going on in Iran, countries like China, and Christian persecution where they execute them for their faith. You know, that people have taken their faith for granted as far as, you know, especially here in the United States, but now with not being able to go to churches, which is a violation of our inalienable rights, we need to start standing up.
Jim, why are Christians not standing up in this moment? There is historic persecution, as you've mentioned, of Christians around the globe, shrinking measures here at home. Is there a problem inside Christianity in engaging in the world today?
This is the fear factor, you know, but Jesus says, you know, do not be afraid, I go before you always. And that was a big part of when I got to do The Passion of the Christ, and the understanding that, you know, at one point when I was struck by lightning and I had to have 2 heart surgeries, open heart as well, that it could cost me my life. But I knew that was the whole message of the Gospels when Peter and Paul, and especially when I was reading Paul's letters to the Romans, it moved me so much that here this man knows he's going to be butchered by the Romans, but he stood up. And I said, may God, in this time that I could do what you need me to do and lead as many people back to you. And I took that into the performance of Infidel. That was important. It had to be a part of that. And so when Cyrus Norrestead brought me this script, I thought these are the times that we're living in, that we have to start standing up, and so I can do my little bit with that movie, but always the intention to bring souls back to Jesus.
I can hear the passion in your voice. One other topic you wanted to touch on was Ronald Reagan gave a speech, a Time for Choosing speech in 1964, and he said, you and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness. What can Americans learn from Ronald Reagan? What are your thoughts on that at this moment in time?
Yes, that's right. He said that, and he said now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war. But there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson in history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is a specter our well-meaning Christian liberal friends, our priests, bishops, and pastors refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives us no choice between peace and war, only between fight and surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we will have to face the final demand, the final ultimatum. And what then? When Satan has told the people of this world he knows what our answer is going to be, he has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of his Cold War, and someday when the time is right to deliver his final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because you see, by then we will have been so weakened from within, spiritually, morally, economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better red than dead, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know it and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Ridge have refused to fire the shot heard around the world? The martyrs of history were not fools, and our beloved dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis did not die in vain. Where then lies the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all, that you and I have the courage to tell our enemies there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which evil must not advance. In the words of Reagan, evil is powerless if the good are unafraid.